You've heard them your whole life. Napoleon was short. Columbus discovered America. Vikings wore horned helmets. They sound familiar, even factual. But what if I told you, every single one of them is a lie? These aren't just misunderstandings, they're myths so deeply embedded in our culture that we teach them in schools. Today, we're going to expose 8 of the most widespread historical myths and uncover the shocking truths behind them. And trust me, once you hear number 7, you'll never look at your history teacher the same way again. Scroll segment 1, Napoleon was not short. We call it a Napoleon complex, short man syndrome, right? But Napoleon Bonaparte was about 5 foot 7 inches, completely normal for his time. So why the myth? It started with British propaganda during the Napoleonic Wars. And then? A translation mistake. French inches were longer than British ones, but nobody adjusted the math. The irony? His imperial guards were tall, making him look short by comparison. In reality, Napoleon was just misunderstood, not miniature. Sailboat segment 2, Columbus didn't discover America, 230 to 415. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, but he didn't find America. He landed in the Bahamas, and he never stepped foot on the mainland US. And here's the kicker, Leif Erikson, a Viking, reached North America nearly 500 years earlier. And long before that? Millions of indigenous people already lived across the continent. Columbus didn't discover anything new. He just rebranded it, and history let him keep the credit. Shield segment 3, Vikings wore horned helmets, 415 to 530. We see it in cartoons, video games, Halloween costumes. But guess what? No Viking warrior wore a horned helmet into battle. The image comes from 19th century opera sets, not archaeology. In fact, horns would be a terrible idea, easy to grab, hard to balance. Real Viking helmets were simple, round, and practical. So the next time someone says you look Viking, ask, opera Viking or real Viking? Globe showing Europe Africa segment 4, people in the Middle Ages knew the earth was round, 5:30 to 7 o'clock. One of the biggest lies in modern education, people used to think the earth was flat. Not true. Since ancient Greece, educated people knew the earth was a sphere, they even estimated its circumference. By the Middle Ages, scholars, sailors, and navigators all accepted this. So where did the flat earth myth come from? 19th century writers who wanted to paint the Middle Ages as dumb and superstitious. Turns out, the real flat story is the one you were told in school. Bow and arrow segment 5, the Middle Ages were not the Dark Ages, 7 to 830. The term Dark Ages makes it sound like nothing happened for 1,000 years. No science. No art. No progress. But that's completely false. The Middle Ages saw the rise of universities, scientific manuscripts, engineering marvels like cathedrals, and global trade networks. Yes, there was war and plague. But there was also philosophy, invention, and cultural exchange. The phrase Dark Ages was invented by Renaissance thinkers to make themselves look smarter. History wasn't dark, it was just different. Mage segment 6, Salem witches weren't burned, 8:30 to 10 o'clock. We imagine witches at the stake, flames rising, villagers watching. But during the Salem witch trials, nobody was burned. 19 were hanged, and one in Giles Corey was pressed to death under stones. Burning witches happened more in Europe, not colonial America. Still horrifying, but not the fire and pitchfork drama we picture. The myth? Spread by movies and dramatizations, not facts. The truth is haunting enough, we don't need to add flames. Red Apple segment 7, Newton didn't discover gravity with an apple. You've heard the story, Newton sits under a tree, apple falls, boom, gravity discovered. Nice, but oversimplified. Newton spent decades studying motion and mathematics. The apple story? It comes from his friend's memoirs written long after Newton's death. Did he notice falling apples? Probably. Did one knock gravity into his brain? Not quite. Science isn't magic. It's painstaking curiosity, and way less cinematic. Classical building segment 8, gladiators didn't always fight to the death. Gladiator fights were violent, but not always fatal. These weren't prisoners thrown to lions for fun, they were trained professionals. Gladiators were expensive to train, and promoters didn't want to lose money. Many matches had referees, rules, and even prize money. The fight to the death idea came from movies, not Roman reality. They were athletes, not sacrifices. We laugh at old myths, but we still fall for them. Because catchy stories travel faster than facts. And once a lie becomes part of pop culture, it's hard to erase. So here's your challenge. Next time you hear a fact about history, pause. Ask, who benefits from this version? What's the real evidence? Because uncovering truth isn't just about the past. It's about how we choose to see the world today. And in a world full of misinformation, curiosity is your best defense.